Hi everyone, in this video you will learn almost everything about Jupyter Notebook. If you are new to Python or you are an experienced Python developer, you will learn something new in this video. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel and watch this entire video. In this video you will learn what is Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook, and then we will install Anaconda and run Jupyter Notebook server. And then after that we'll go through the Jupyter Notebook interface and we'll see all the features available there one by one. And then cell types and modes, shortcut and magic commands, and at the end we'll look at how to publish and share the Jupyter Notebook with other team members. So let's start with Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook. Anaconda is the most popular distribution of Python. Every new data scientist starts with Anaconda. With the installation of Anaconda, it will install collection of packages at once, where it will install Python for you. It will also install Jupyter Notebook and Spider. These are the code editors that you can use to write your own Python code. It will install hundreds of data science packages that you can use in your Python code. And it will also install Anaconda Navigator and Conda Package Manager. Jupyter Notebook is the editor for Python language, and this is used by the majority of data scientists around the world. It has very nice and easy to use interface. You can install Jupyter Notebook as standalone application, and it is also provided within Anaconda distribution. So now you know what is Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook. Let's go ahead with the installation of Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook. There are two ways. Either you can search in Google, download Anaconda, or you can go to anaconda.com directly. Anaconda team keeps updating the interface of the website, so maybe by the time you are watching this video, this interface is a bit different, but you will be able to download the Anaconda from the website. If I navigate to products, I will be able to see the list of all the products. If you're working in a team, you can go for team edition. If you are working in enterprise, you can go for enterprise edition. So the Anaconda version that we're going to install in this video is individual edition. So I'm just going to click on that. This is the page to download the Anaconda for individual person. If I scroll down, I can see the download button here. If I click on this, it will take me to the installers for different operating system for Windows, Mac and Linux. My operating system is Windows, so I'll go for the Windows version. For Windows, there are two kind of version. One is 64-bit and another is 32-bit. You should always download 64-bit version because this is much better in performance. Only in a case if you have a 32-bit operating system, then you can go for 32-bit version. Let's download the 64-bit version. To download, I can just click on the link and it will start downloading. This is the folder where I want to save it, so I can just click on the save button and it will start downloading. Clicking on the installer that I have just downloaded to start the installation. Click next. I agree. If you want all the laptop users or the computer users to have the access to Anaconda, then select all users. Or if you are the only one who will access it, then leave the just me selected and click next button. This is the location where I want to save it. Next. Select add Anaconda to my path environment variable, so it will add it automatically instead of you adding it manually. Click install and it will start the installation. Installation has been completed. Click next. Next. Uncheck both of them and click finish. Installation has been successfully completed. Now we can run Jupyter Notebook. Go to start menu, type cmd and open command prompt and type Jupyter Notebook here and press enter. It will take some time to run the server and then you will see a new tab in Chrome. Jupyter Notebook has been launched. I can click on the new Python 3. This will create a new Python file in the same folder. Here I can start writing my Python code. Congratulations, you have successfully installed Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook is running. Now we can go through the Jupyter Notebook interface and look at all the features there. First, run the Jupyter Notebook from the command prompt. Go to command prompt and write the command Jupyter Notebook. One thing to make sure here that you are running the command from the correct folder. If you run the command from this folder, then you will be able to create or open file only from this folder. I have a folder called Python available in E drive. I want to run Jupyter Notebook from that folder. To do that, remove this command, type E and colon and press enter. Now I am inside E drive. I want to go to Python folder, type cd and type Python. Okay, I am inside the Python folder now, and I can write Jupyter Notebook and press enter. And now this Jupyter Notebook is running from the Python folder from the E drive. I don't have any file in that folder, that's why the list is empty. To create a new file, go to the new button and click on the Python 3. A new file has been created and open in Jupyter Notebook. If I go to the previous tab again, I can see the new file that we have just created. To open this file or any other Jupyter Notebook file, just click on the file name and it will open in the new tab. Let's go to the same tab again. This is the area where you can write your Python code, and you can see the file name here. If you want to rename this file, just click on the name, and here you can give it a new name and then press the rename button. There is also another way to rename the file. Go to the file tab and click the rename button, and here's the same way you can give it a new name again and press the rename button. This is the code block where I can write Python code. I'm going to print hello world here within the print function, and inside quotation I can write hello world. And to execute this block, I can either click the run button from here, and I can hold the shift and hit enter, and you will see the output here. I can also write the code without print function, type hello world and hit shift enter, and here you can see out is written here, which is indicating that this is the output of this block. But with print function, it doesn't show you that. So if you go to the first block and hit shift and enter, it executes the block and take you to the next block. But if you want to execute this and add an empty code block next to it, you can hit alt and enter. It will execute the code block and add an empty code block for you. To delete the code block, select the code block and go to edit menu and select delete cell. And this way you can delete all the cells. Let's go through the menus one by one. In the file menu, you can create a new notebook. You can open existing notebook from your hard drive. You can make copy of this file. You can also use save as function to make a copy of this file, and then you can use the rename function to rename this file. Then save and checkpoint. Save and checkpoint will save your Python Jupyter notebook, and it will also create a checkpoint. Checkpoint is very useful when you want to do some additional changes to the code, but you are afraid that it might mess up the code. So with checkpoint, you can revert your code any point in time to the code when you save your checkpoint. I'm creating a variable here in Python, x is equal to 10. Okay, now I can go to the file and save a checkpoint. And this checkpoint has been saved. And now if I remove this Python code, and if I go to file, revert to the checkpoint, select the checkpoint, revert, and you can see the file has been reverted to the same code at the time when I saved the checkpoint. Okay, cool. So next is print preview. If you want to print this Jupyter notebook file, you can see the preview of that. And next is download as. There are different ways to download this Jupyter notebook file. The most popular methods are Jupyter notebook, IPYNB file, and python.py file. IPYNB file will make the copy of the same Jupyter notebook file, and .py file will download the code in pure Python. And this extension is useful if you are sharing the file with the Python developer who are not using Jupyter notebook, or you can also download this file to schedule the Python script using the task scheduler. And then it's close and halt. Close and halt will close this Python Jupyter notebook file, and it will also shut down the kernel. Let's move to the edit menu now. To test this menu, I will create two more cells. I created one cell before where I created one variable called x, and I assigned the value 10 to that variable. Here I'm going to create variable y, and I'm assigning it a value 20. And in the next cell I'm creating a variable z, and I'm assigning it a value 30. Now if I select the first cell, and from the edit menu if I select cut cell option, this cell has been removed, and I can select any cell here. So let's say if I'm selecting the second cell, and from the edit menu again, if I select this option paste cell below, it will add the cut cell below to the selected cell. And now you can see it's pasted below that. So from the edit menu, cut cell will be used to move the cell to another location. Copy cell will be used if you want to make a new copy of the cell. Paste cell above will paste the cell above the selected cell, and below will paste it below. Paste cell and replace will replace the cell with the cut or the copy cell. Delete cell will delete the cell, and if you have deleted the cell by mistake, you can select undo delete cell. Split cell is a useful functionality if you want to split the code into two cells. If you have code in multiple lines, let's say test, I'm pasting it 8 times. Okay, and let's say if I want to split this into two parts, 4 lines in the first cell and 4 lines in the second cell. So I can just add an empty line here, and from the edit menu I can select split cell, and you can see this code has been splitted into two cells. And then after that, merge cell above will merge the selected cell with the cell above, and below will merge with the cell below. Move cell up will move the cell up, and move cell down will move the cell down. Find and replace helps to replace all the occurrences of a character or a word in the entire document. Now the view tab. From the view tab, if you want to hide the header, you can click on toggle header, and if you want to bring it back, you can click on it again. And this is the toolbar here, so if you want to hide it, you can click toggle toolbar, and the same way you can bring it back. And before the each line here, you can see the line numbers here. So from the view tab, if you want to hide these, you can click toggle line number, and the lines are gone. If you want to bring these back, click on toggle line number. And from the insert tab, we can insert a cell above the selected cell. It's added. If I want to add it below, I can select insert cell below. Cell will be added here. If you want to run the code in a cell, you can go to the cell menu tab and click run cells. And the second option is run cells and the select below. This will execute the code in the cell, and it will select the cell below that. This is same as hitting the shift and enter button. And if you want to run the cell and insert an empty code block below, you can select this option. This is same as hitting the alt and enter buttons. If you have multiple cells in the Jupyter notebook and you want to run all the cells in the sequence, you can click on run all. If you have selected a code block and you want to execute all the code blocks above that code block, you can select this option. And if you want to execute all the code blocks below that, you can select this option. All the Python code that we write runs on the kernel. So if there is something wrong happen with the code and it is taking more than usual and you want to stop that, you can interrupt the kernel. Or maybe you have written infinite loop there and you want to stop that, you can click interrupt kernel and the execution for that code block will be stopped. And if you want to restart the kernel, you can select restart option. This option is very useful because all the variables that you create in the code and execute, value for these variables is saved in the memory in reference with the kernel. And if you remove the code block or if you remove the variable, the value will not be removed from the memory. You can still call that variable. If you want to flush all the variables from the memory, you can use this restart option. If you want to restart the kernel and clear all the outputs, you can use this option. And if you want to restart the kernel and run all the cells from the beginning, let's say you wrote all the logic and you want to do a fresh execution again, you can hit this option and it will restart the kernel, flush all the variables from the memory and run all the code blocks again. And if you want to reconnect the kernel, in any case if the kernel was stopped, you can try to reconnect that. And if you want to shut down the kernel, you can use the shutdown option. I hope now you are familiar with Jupyter Notebook interface, and we can go ahead and discuss the cell types and modes. So we have discussed the menu tabs before, but we didn't discuss the ribbon here. All the features within this ribbon are already available in the menu tab, but these are the most frequently used features. These are here in the ribbon, so instead of going to the menu tab, we can just quickly select it from here and it will increase our coding speed. So first one is save and checkpoint, insert code below, cut, copy, paste, move cell up, move cell down, run the cell code, interrupt the kernel, restart the kernel and run whole notebook. Then we have the cell type. Two most important cell types are code and markdown, and we are going to discuss these two only. You can see this cell is selected now and cell type is code. It means I can write Python code here. So if I write Python code, let's say if I want to import pandas as PD, if I hit shift and enter now, this Python code is executed. This cell can only contains Python code or comments. To comments, add a new line, type hash, and then you can write comment here. And then you can hit shift and enter and it will remain same. And if you don't use hash for the comments and if you execute this, it will give you error because this is not Python code. and I can add the hash again and run this. It will work perfectly. Let's say I want to add some information here. I want to add prerequisites for this Jupyter notebook. I'm selecting the first cell from insert cell above. I want to write prerequisites here. To add some information, I need to change the cell type to markdown. And in markdown language, if you want to add heading, you can type hash and then type your heading here, prerequisites. And then in the next line, I want to add a horizontal line here. To add horizontal line, type aesthetic 3 times. And then in the next line, I want to add some steps. Step 1, then step 2. And now if I hit shift and enter, this becomes the information area. It doesn't look like the code block here. So this is very useful if you are sharing your notebook with other team members. This will become very easy for them to understand what is the information block and what is the code block. Jupyter Notebook has two modes. One is edit mode and second is command mode. If the cell border is green, it means the cell is in edit mode, and if I click outside, it turns into blue color, which means the cell is in command mode. Edit mode is for all the actions that you will take in context of cell. That's where you are editing and typing your text. So let's say if I want to create a variable here, df is equal to pd.read_csv example.csv, and if I copy this variable and paste it in the next line, so this is where I'm working in the edit mode. Command mode is when you will take the actions in the context of the notebook, and this is outside the scope of any individual cell. You can select multiple cells, copy them and paste them here together, and you can also select multiple cells and delete them. To get the greater sense of what you can do in the command mode and edit mode, go to the keyword shortcuts, and here you can see the list of all the actions that you can perform in the command mode and the actions that you can perform in edit mode. So we have seen what are the cell types and modes, and now we can go ahead with shortcut and magic commands. Jupyter has handy shortcuts for many of its commands, and we will look at mostly used shortcuts. Many of Jupyter's shortcuts are relevant to either edit mode or command mode, while some of them can be used in both modes. I'll start with edit mode shortcuts first. To go to the beginning of the line, I can hold the control button and press up. To add a command, control plus /, and then I can type the command. If you press left or right, it will move a character at a time, but if you hold the control button and press left or right, it will move word at a time. If you press backspace, it will remove character at a time, but if you hold control button and press backspace, it will delete word at a time. If you press Ctrl Z, it will undo, and if you press Ctrl Shift and Z, it will redo. If you select the first cell and hit Shift and enter, it will execute the code in the first cell and move to the next cell. If you select the same cell again and hit Alt and enter, it will execute the cell code and it will insert a new cell. If you select the same cell again and hit Ctrl and enter, it will execute the cell code and it will keep the focus on the same cell. There is one other edit mode command that split the cell into two cells. Select the line that you want to split into two cells, hold Ctrl, Shift and minus button, and cell has been splitted into two cells. Use the escape key to enter to the command mode, and border color will let you know that you are in the command mode. I just splitted the cell into two cells, and now I'm going to combine these. Hold the Shift button and press up button to select both of the cells, and now press Shift and M. And this will combine the cells into one cell. Press the C key to copy the cell and press V key to paste it below. Next command is to hide and show the output of the cell. For that, I'll write something here in inverted commas. Let's say hello world. And then press Ctrl and enter, so focus will remain on the same cell. Now you can see the output here. If I press O here, it will hide the output. I can press O button again to bring it back. Last two important shortcuts are H key and P key. H key will show all the keyword shortcuts where you can go through all the shortcuts for the command mode and edit mode and you can learn them. And P key will show the option palette where you can search for the commands and execute them. Jupyter has a set of commands called magics. Magic commands are command line tool, which means the syntax is similar to bash, and these commands use flags for options. It's not the usual Python syntax where you pass the parameter inside the parenthesis. There are two types of magics, line magics and cell magics. Line magics are the single line commands and often take parameter, which will be separated using spaces. If you are used to working on command line, many of these magics are the same command that you can execute right inside Jupyter. Let's take a look at few magic commands. First, we will discuss line magic commands. So in the new line, magic commands always start with percentage sign. So the command that we are going to discuss now is called load, and it requires Python file name as a flag. And the file name that I have is called display_chart.py. And what this command is going to do, when I execute this cell, it will bring all the Python code from display chart Python file to this cell. And now you can see all the code from the display chart Python file is loaded to this cell. If I want to see all the files in a directory, %ls, shift and enter. And now it's showing me all the directories and the files within the current directory. So next command will execute the code from a Python file. So command is called run. So start with %run, then file name is display_chart.py, and then I can give it some numbers to display like 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 6, 8, hit shift and enter, and now you can see it's displaying the numbers in the chart. So this function is very useful if you have customized kind of chart that you use for your data analysis. So instead of copying the code again and again, within one line, pass your data to the file and it will print the chart here, and it will make your code much cleaner. So next two commands that we are going to discuss are useful when you are working on optimizing your code. So if you want to know how long your code is taking to execute, you can use these commands. To test that command, I can create a loop sum x for x in range. Now here I'm going to create an array from the number 0 to 1 million, and then I want to multiply it by 100,000. And to test it, I'm going to write the magic command here, which is percentage and time and with space. Now I can hit shift and enter. So now you can see this command is taking 154 milliseconds to execute. So if you have the code that you are trying to optimize, you can see how long that code is taking. You can do some modification, try to run it again, and then you can compare the timings. And the next command is time it. I'm copying the same code, and after time I'm typing it. And if I execute this command, so it's taking more than time command to execute. So now you can see it's not only giving me the seconds, it's also giving me the standard deviations of 7 runs. So let's look at cell magic commands. So line magic commands always started with percentage sign, but cell magic commands will start with 2 percentage signs. So we will always have to start with percentage 2 times, and then we can write the cell magic command name. So first cell magic that I'm going to try is called write file. And then it requires a Python file name as a flag. I'm going to give it a name test_file.py. And then after this line, I need to give it a code. So I'm going to copy the code from above, copy, and paste in the next line. And what this command is going to do, it will create a new file with the name test_file.py, and it will copy this code in that file. Currently, we don't have any file called test_file. If I hit shift and enter to execute this, file is executed. Now I need to refresh this page, and I can see the test_file.py here. And the next cell magic command is captured. So what this capture command will do, it will capture the output of the cell code into a variable. So here I need to give it a name of the variable. Let's say I'm giving it a name chart, and I'm copying the same code that I've used before, now without percentage, and I can paste it in the next line. And now if I execute this command, nothing happens because the chart output is stored in the variable chart. And now if I write chart.show and hit shift and enter, you can see the chart is displaying. So these are the most important magic commands. There are many other magic commands that you can use. To see the list of the magic command, type percentage and ls magic, and this magic command will show you the list of all the magic commands. And if you want to see the brief introduction on that, use the magic command magic and hit shift and enter, and here you can see the introduction on the magic commands. So that is all about shortcut and magic commands. Now we can move to our last section, which is publishing and sharing Jupyter Notebook. To publish Jupyter Notebook to a website or a blog, go to File menu, and from the Download As option, select HTML. And it will download the static HTML code in the file, and you can click on that to run it. And now you can see the code in the same Jupyter Notebook format. You can copy the code from this HTML file and paste it in your website or a blog. There are two ways to download this Jupyter Notebook in PDF format. One way is to download the HTML file, run it in the browser, and go to the print menu and save this as PDF. And if you save this, it will save the code in the PDF format in your hard drive. Then you can use that to share it with other team members, or you can use that to print it. Second way to download the Jupyter Notebook file in PDF is go to the same tab, from the File menu, Download As, and select the option PDF via LaTeX. And it will give you an error because it requires extra applications to be installed for that. You can copy the link from here and paste it in the URL and open it. And now it's giving you the option to download the LaTeX application for different operating system. My operating system is Windows, so I'm selecting MacTeX. Downloads. So Windows is selected. I can click on the download to download it. So it has started downloading. You can install that application, and after that you can go to File menu again, Download As, and select PDF via LaTeX, and it will start downloading in PDF. Next extension is python.py file. So if you click on this, it will download the code in a pure Python file. The main advantage of this Python file is you can share this file with the other Python developers who are not using Jupyter Notebook. And there is also one more advantage of this file, that you can schedule this file using the task scheduler. So let's say you have written a script that you want to execute every morning at 9 or 10 a.m. You can use Windows Task Scheduler to schedule the script to run it every morning. So we have covered these 6 areas in the video, and I hope you have learned something new in this video. So keep watching my videos and subscribe to my channel.